lounging, son.
Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast, guys. I am your host, your friendly neighborhood Dillbot, and with me, as always, my ever-loving, blue-eyed Brian. Say hi to the people, bud.
What's up, guys?
All right, so today we're going to be talking about the same stuff we've been talking about. Comics. Magistrate. And we're going to be talking about Future State. What Ryan and I liked and what we didn't like. And, of course, we're going to talk about how I missed out on reading stuff. No need to get into that. I just missed out. But I heard that pretty much everything except for like maybe one title was pretty good, Ryan.
I mean, in my opinion, yeah. I wouldn't say like all of them were like home runs, but they were like solid. You know, like I enjoyed them, especially if you like the characters. Like the $3.99 books, like is what I'm talking about. Like Catwoman, Nightwing, and Shazam, I think were like the regular price books. And if you like those characters, you're gonna like them, even if you're not a huge fan of them. I think they're pretty good. But we'll get into each book. I know since you read half the books.
Let's talk about my half.
Or we could do that, or we could alternate. We'll talk about a book we both read, and then I'll jump in with one that.
Can we talk about this first?
Sure, we could throw that in there. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this first before we get into the Future State stuff. That way we just get it out of the way. I'm getting really frustrated with Tom King's like multiple timeline storytelling in this because it's literally like 3 timelines on one page.
I know that's to me it's confusing too. The only way you can really differentiate it is the subtleties in Catwoman's costume change.
Yeah,
that's the only thing you can, because they're not big changes in her costume, but there's like little subtleties that if you notice the changes in Batman's costume, you can't necessarily see because they're focused on his face. But in her the top of her costume.
No. It's
confusing.
It's definitely confusing, but it's also like one of the most beautiful things I've seen. I mean, the fact that like it's literally an advent calendar.
I know, I like that. It's
I thought it was like really dope.
Yeah,
like that was like the first thing I noticed as soon as I opened it up, right? And then of course, obviously the big ass freaking Phantasm panel.
I know. I thought about doing a breakdown of each. Like I reviewed the first issue. I did a video review, and I thought about doing that for every issue of the series. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I think it would be because it's too confusing to like really know the subtleties. And I feel like once you get the full picture, when it's done, I think I'll probably, or maybe we can just do an episode on all of Batman, Catwoman. You know, because it's like you said, like I had a hard time too reading it, and that was a little frustrating. The only thing you can really tell is like the future time, the very far future part of it, as opposed to like, or maybe that's the present technically of the story, and we're looking at the past timelines.
I think that's what it is, because like the thing that's most mysterious is like, you know, why is Catwoman and Joker having a conversation in a geriatric stage in life? You know what I mean? Like, why are they still friends?
I don't know. They're not really friends based on the ending of that issue. But I don't want to fucking spoil it for anybody that hasn't read it. But I liked it. It's confusing. I agree. The same issue with the first issue.
I felt like I could follow the first issue a little easier though, because it literally wasn't 3 timelines on one page. Because those multiple moments in this issue where it was all 3 timelines going on at once, and I'm just having a little bit of a hard time.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. What do you want to start with the future?
We want to start with Catwoman because it was the quickest read.
Yeah, hold on. Let me forgive me. I read these books last Friday, so it's not as fresh in my memory as it probably is in yours. So I'm just gonna grab the issue so I can. I
read the Future State stuff on Monday, like what I could read on Monday, and then for the rest of the week I was reading Fables. But freaking Catwoman, dude.
Rom V and Otto Schmidt, bro. I am so upset with myself that I haven't been reading his Catwoman ongoing. Because I loved his take on it, and I got a chance to chat with him a couple days ago, and he just got me so pumped for every single book he's writing at DC. And then we got a couple announcements too after I interviewed him from his new Boom book and his new Vault book, and like this dude's killing it.
Oh, he's doing a Boom book?
Yeah.
Damn. So what's up? You want to do that jazz one? I took a look in it. It looks pretty beautiful. I forget what it's called.
Blue and Green. I do want to do it. We'll wait a little while because Comic Marauders reviewed it this week. So I don't want to like
those guys.
Well, you know, I gotta throw them a bone, bro. You know what I mean? Like they only record once every 2 weeks, twice a month. We're over here fucking knocking out videos on the daily. So you know, whatever. We'll wait. But let's talk.
Let's just blame Kevin. Catwoman.
Yeah, dude.
When someone told me it was like a train heist, I I was like, they still have trains in the future? Like, why would they have trains in the future? And then, the whole thing, it's like, it's essentially like showing the kind of hold that the magistrate has on like the general
Yeah.
public in Gotham. So I thought that was really cool, really important how they did that. And the fact that it's literally a heist is dope because it's Catwoman, and now she has her own little, like, I want to call it the Cat family because it's like the
Right,
Cheshire
right, right.
Cat, like, you know what I mean?
It's like her
And
alley cats. That's
yeah,
like what I would call them. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and she's the mama cat, dude.
the strays, dude.
I've always loved her in that role. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I as much as like you were just talking about Batman Catwoman, as much as I like the relationship between her and Bruce,
yeah,
if she's gonna have her own series, I kind of don't want to see Bruce in the book. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I really just want her to be the main focus. And I mean, she's a thief, dude. I think heists are like exactly what she should be doing. They don't necessarily have to be robbing somebody that's good or doing something evil. They can be a good heist. Like there
yeah,
is for the right reasons. And
yeah,
I think that comes across in this very well. I'm gonna jump to the end. Who they break out? Onomatopoeia, dude, from
yeah,
Kevin Smith's Green Arrow run. I haven't seen him in years, dude. Like, so I was seeing him in the comic book made me super happy that like he was back and like he had to like the only way he could talk is if he made a mask for himself and painted the fucking
yeah,
the spiral on his face, which is
yeah.
really dope. But
It's a fun ride, and the fact that like it's its own singular issue. There's no back issues to this, and it's a $3.99 book, right?
yeah.
And the fact that the story holds so well throughout the entire thing is just like it makes me excited for the rest of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I added it to my poll after I read it. Like remember, I think I told you. It's easier now. Like the first week of Future State, I still hadn't been back to work because I was sick, right? So
Right,
I couldn't like bring all the books home and read them. I had to just whatever I was sub to, I was sub to.
right,
But since then, I'm bringing everything home on the Monday. So then I'm like, okay, I'll add this to my poll. I added
right,
Catwoman to my poll because I'm like, you know what? This is I want to support the book because I like it. I think first of all the art.
yeah,
Otto Schmidt drew the Green Arrow run with Ben Percy that
yeah,
kicked off the Rebirth
right,
era,
right.
and
Mm.
I fucking love his art. We don't see enough of it. It's just like it's got a fluidity to it, and like he has like this gracefulness with Catwoman as she's like fighting the guards and stuff right before
Yeah,
she breaks out onomatopoeia, and I love the book. I don't want to like get too far into the details. I mean, pretty much all you need to know is it's a heist story. We don't really need to get into too many of the particulars because that's kind of once you read it, that's kind of what makes it special, and I don't want to
yeah,
take away from that too much. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. No, no. I think like when you're talking about the artwork and the fluidity, like the sequence of panels that like I really enjoyed was literally as the way she got onto the train. That was
Yeah.
like I think that was my favorite series of panels that weren't fight panels.
Oh
Like
yeah. When she
it's
jumps on the bike and then she
yeah,
glides, she like these
she
wings pop
glides.
out.
No, yeah, and then the thing is, it's like it moves so well, like from off the bridge and off the bike onto the train and into the train. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's very like JRJR like Daredevil fluid. How a lot of it was just it kind of like flow. It made reading the page like keeping your eyes on the page very easy. This is some really excellent stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I And like I said, this is like a full story, and there's just so much content in it. Like saying it's just a heist is kind of like not giving it enough credit for what it
Okay.
is. Like you know
Okay.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I love it. I mean, it is just a heist, but all the crazy stuff that's happening in here, all the multiple things that the plot, the double plot twist at the end was like one of my favorite things about it. Like holy crap! Like
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, this is definitely up there with like my favorites of the entire Future State line.
I agree. I think it's definitely a must pick up if you're a Catwoman fan or if you're reading the Batman Magistrate stuff. This kind of ties in loosely,
Mm-hmm.
like just enough to be tied into it, but not so much that it's overpowering. I think
The rest
what's
of the
really
stuff.
going on with Selina.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my favorite book of the week, Superman Worlds of War.
Okay.
I think I've already discussed this with you, like after talking to Philip Kenny Johnson, like I'm super hyped for his Superman books. I was hyped for this book after talking to him, and it delivered. We see a Smallville that's now dealing with like, hey, Clark, we know the world knows Clark is Superman, right? So this is in the future. So like there's people that are like selling souvenirs right in the town. It's like home of Superman, it says out there. And they're like there's almost like this like religious group, like they take his high school homework papers and like they're reading it as if it's like religious text, which is really fucking funny. It's actually interesting. I know it sounds
so basically Smallville turned into this little kitsch town where it's just bobbleheads and pet rocks named Clark, right? Like, so that's a pretty interesting concept. Like, I mean, you don't think about that, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, they haven't dealt with that. Like Bendis didn't deal with all that shit. You know what I mean? So like to see it kind of dealt with, and Mikel Yanin's art is just fucking out of this world, dude. I love his art so much. Like he was one of the appeals to me on the Batman with Tom King. Right. He did Grayson as well with Tom King.
Right.
So like,
Yanin. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. Yeah, he was responsible for like I Am Gotham and I Am no. What do you do?
He did the second arc. David Finch did the first arc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I might be.
So the I Am Suicide.
Yeah, I Am Suicide.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Like it's just really cool. Everybody in this town, like they're all gathering, right? And they're all talking about wanting Superman back because Superman's obviously gone. I mean, as you can tell by the cover, he's on Warworld, and he's been captured, and he's forced to battle there. But the thing that I loved about it isn't the Superman stuff. It's this girl who I can't remember her name, but she's like the main focus of it, right? And she's like really our window into this version of Smallville. And when she goes to this collection of people that are almost like, I would say, kind of worshiping Superman or talking about like the things that how they are connected to Superman, the different people talking about, we get these glimpses of the past and how they met Superman and how he saved them. We also get glimpses of it almost looks like the deceased planet of Superman fighting some of the zombies. I don't know if that's what it is, but it talks about a future event. It teases like the far off future, like the House of El special of the descendants of Superman. Just a lot of cool fucking like stories, but like a lot of people are losing hope, and she talks about like, where is your hope? You know?
Okay.
And if he's not dead, and like so the people are like, well, if he's not dead, where is he? And then like one person says he's everywhere. And like that line was like really fucking awesome. Again, I don't want to like ruin too much of it, but like we get more little glimpses of Superman in this timeline, and then we jump to Warworld and we see him like we're not even with him that much. But we see him trapped on Warworld, and then at the end, like the girl, like the main character of the story, she's like, I remember you. And then it ends, right? And then we get so that was like the main story. That one was phenomenal. The Mr. Miracle wasn't really feeling it. You know, that it was okay,
Shiloh.
but like I just I like Scott Free. So I mean I like Shiloh the way Morrison wrote him, but I haven't really I don't have an affinity for the character, and it's connected to the main story because like then he meets Midnighter, and then there's a Midnighter backup. So like all the stories are technically connected the most out of every other story and in the 799 issues. There's a Black Racer story that was whatever. I think my second favorite story was the Midnighter though, because I've always liked Midnighter because of Authority, and Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad they co-wrote that story.
Okay.
Yeah, so like
isn't she also doing Wonder Woman?
Right, so we'll talk about Immortal Wonder Woman next. And I don't want to ruin too much of this. Oh, it's a beautiful Momoko cover.
Honestly, this is like the only Momoko cover I've ever liked. I mean, I'm not really a fan, to be honest.
Really, I like her art. I don't like some of the ones that seem like she's just not fully invested in it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was a good one.
And this one, it looks like she's using like 4 different mediums, just like watercolor, Copic, colored pencil, spray paint. Like it's actually like super elaborate. But then there's other ones it's just like she drew it on her lunch break. I'm not saying she's not a bad artist, but I can tell when someone's put a lot of effort into something and someone hasn't.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's a phenomenal artist, but like there's some that's just like she had a cigarette and then she drew something.
I get it. But overall, I think everybody should check out Superman Worlds of War. I think that he's captured this take on not just Superman, but the mythos and what it means to be Superman and the symbol of hope that he is and his effect on the world. And it totally has me hyped for his run in March. It has me excited for the next issue of this. And also the House of L special. So highly recommend that book.
Yeah, I mean, you're only just adding to the hype of me wanting to read it. I'll probably read it after we record this. But no, it sounds dope. I mean, the simple fact. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, it's crazy to think how affected that the world could be without Superman. Like, you know what I mean? And how people would react to it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
And then all you have left is John, who's over here putting Metropolis in bottles.
Yeah, and... that's still the only book I haven't read. I just don't read it. It's two people have told me now they hated it. You and my brother. So
bad. I was talking about Wonder Woman.
I'll let you lead off.
Oh yeah, so this is like the first one I read. I was super hyped for this. I'm gonna start with the Nubia story. Okay, so the Nubia story
by L.L. McKinney and Aletha Martinez.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know too much about the character.
Right.
This has definitely made me more interested. I mean, the simple fact that when she's like seeking counsel as to what to do, she goes to her aunt Nancy, which is Anansi. Like if anybody's read American Gods or anything like that, or even read Spider-Man the Other, everybody knows Anansi is the trickster spider god.
Yeah, kind of like a Loki almost.
Yeah,
but in a different mythology.
Loki.
Yeah,
but this time it's like it's portrayed as a woman, and I love it.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's Nubia's aunt makes it all the more awesome. It gives it the whole background as to what's going on. What's the name of the villain?
It's Darkseid's daughter. It's Grail.
Oh wow, Darkseid, like real daughter? Because Darkseid has daughters, and then
Okay. Well, it was this. She was in the Darkseid War and John's Justice League before Rebirth.
Okay, cool. I haven't read any of that, but I will. I mean, honestly, like Darkseid War is like one of my top things. Like I'm really trying to read.
Yeah, so that's probably why you didn't know her off top. But yes, she is Darkseid's daughter. I mean, look at the red eyes and everything. It's Darkseid and Amazon had a kid.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty cool story.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, because you think Darkseid is he just stands by like flaming pits all day. Like he doesn't do anything. He just kind of broods over flaming pits. You don't picture him. And he kidnaps babies and like trades babies. Like it's strange to have the concept of him actually having a child.
I agree.
But Nubia was great. But let's get into the Cloonan and Bartel Wonder Woman.
Michael Conrad, Becky Cloonan, co-writing.
Michael Conrad, Becky Cloonan, and Jen Bartel. This is I didn't know how much I needed Jen Bartel to draw specifically Wonder Woman, because if any of you had Twitter, like honestly, following Jen Bartel has been like the best thing ever, because all she does is just post like not safe for work freaking Final Fantasy art, and it's really like some of the most beautiful stuff ever, but. As soon as you open this book and as soon as you start turning the pages and you kind of see exactly what Diana is going through in this, it's quite possibly some of the most beautiful artwork I've ever seen in a Wonder Woman comic. From the actual character design to who makes an appearance to the colors and the lighting and just the shit. Like, there's such a crazy contrast between the panels with Darkseid and the panels with Diana. And I like this for instance, like it's literally such a contrasting page where Darkseid's traveling while Diana is trying to get the rest of the Amazons on the same page to deal with this impending doom that's coming to Earth. Like, and we're talking about an Earth like way beyond in the future, when it's like the last days of Earth or whatever. Like, it's inevitable now that Earth is about to be destroyed, right? And it's the most beautiful thing. I'm really curious to see what she's going to do with the item that she took out of the Batcave. And also what's going to happen with... Dude, I just love the fact that...
Are you talking about the utility belt?
Yeah, I'm talking about the utility belt.
So what's interesting, if you haven't read Wonder Woman Dead Earth, that happens in there as well. It happens differently. Like, she had been in, like, cryogenically, like, preserved, right? And, like, she gets woken up.
She wasn't...
But she also takes...
no Gray Stripe.
No Gray Stripe, but she also gets, like, the utility belt, which is kind of interesting because like that story just ended, and I feel like they kind of are riffing on that, which I'm not mad about. Obviously, this isn't not it's not, the world isn't as it's not exactly the same. The Amazons are still here. I won't spoil Dead Earth, but that future's way different. But I did think that was kind of cool that they threw that in there. But I liked the Apocalypse. Barda is like now with Darkseid and Orion, so like now they're calling him they call him High Father, right?
No, because they're talking about
saving. They call him High. They do. Like right when Barda comes in, she says High Father. He begins to say something, or he cuts her off. But like that's so like I kind of want to see like how did that come to be, right? Like why are they now with Darkseid as opposed to fighting against him? We don't see a Mr. Miracle. We only see Barda and Orion, which I love the New Gods. I love all that Fourth World stuff, all the Kirby stuff. So anytime that's in the book, I'm down. What I really love too, you're talking about Bartel's art, the coloring, dude, because she colors all this. And that's like one of the appeals to me about her art is how she colors with such warm colors. You know what I mean? Like even the dark colors have like this warmth to them. But that dark side where he's like leaving Apocalypse and he's above it, like that fucking page is just dope as fuck.
Yeah. Shit, I don't. It kind of makes you wonder why Jen Bartel like hasn't been doing interiors from the jump, right? Because it's just. But then I also think about it, like like you said, she both sketches, inks, and colors all her stuff. So you can imagine like what.
Oh, it takes a long time for sure.
Yeah, it takes a long time. But this is just for the Jen Bartel art alone. This is like definitely worth the read and the money. But the thing is, this wasn't my favorite. I'll let you talk about another one before I talk about my favorite.
Okay, all right. I do want to mention though the appearance of Swamp Thing was awesome in this. I also really like that. We wouldn't have to talk too much about it because I think like I don't want to ruin it. But dude, home run for this book as well. To me, Immortal Wonder Woman was fantastic. Superman Worlds of War. I'll throw the book I didn't like in the middle of all this.
Okay.
The next Batman. Now,
all right.
I had my issues with the first issue.
Right.
We talked about it. I like the middle story the best, The Outsiders. There's art change on here for the story. Nick Darrington is not doing the art. He's doing the breakdowns. Laura Braga is drawing it. So, like, that to me, not to say Laura Braga is a bad artist, but it's like, it kind of annoyed me that, like, you couldn't even get the same artist for 4 issues on this initiative. Like, he only drew the first one, and he's not drawing anymore. Like, he's only doing the breakdown. So it's like, well, then why didn't you just have a different artist from the beginning? Like, that kind of stuff bothers me.
Yeah. Because you try to convey, if you're trying to convey like a short story, you gotta,
Yeah.
So you have to maintain some kind of like content, some kind of structure.
Yeah. So like Tim Fox, like he's cool as Batman and stuff, and like, it just there's nothing about the story. Like, and you didn't read it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But just overall, like, there's nothing that's really grabbing me about this character. I just like, and I know he's gonna do a series that comes out in April, right? Yeah. Of the origin of how he became Batman. But like, no, that you should have had flashbacks to it in here at least, right? And then flesh it out. But like, I just don't have enough of his motivation for doing what he's doing. So like, I don't care, kind of.
Right.
You care about Bruce because you're like, dude, this dude got fucked up. His parents were killed in front of him. He decided to fight crime because of that. So you know his motivation, so you can like understand why he does what he does. I don't understand why Tim Fox is doing what he's doing. And that to me is why I don't like it. The last story, I'll talk, the back of the third story in it, Gotham City Sirens, it's almost unreadable to me. And I'm really not trying to be mean. I just did not care for the characterizations of the characters. It was just weird. They had Slam Bradley, who was a mainstay in the Ed Brubaker, Darwin Cook comic series in the early 2000s. So that was cool, but he was kind of out of character. Selena was completely different from how she was portrayed in the Catwoman Future State book. But, I talked to Ron V, and he's like, people should be able to, like, you should still be able to enjoy the story, even though the interpretation is different. And, like, okay, fair enough. But I don't like this interpretation. So I just, you can miss me with it, The middle story, Batgirls, was my favorite. So the middle story, it seems like the next Batman is going to be the middle stories that are good.
Middle stories, dude. So which Batgirls is it?
So this is what it is, right? Barbara's gone, right? We don't know where she is. Yeah. Stephanie Brown, spoiler, who was a Batgirl at one point in time, is in jail. and they not only have villains in there, but they have heroes captured as well. This is by the Magistrate, right? And then Cassandra Cain gets captured, and now she's in there. But her and Stephanie have beef. We don't know why. She calls Stephanie a traitor, and that's all I'll tell you. But it's interesting what takes place. It's not like, oh wow, the story's amazing, but it was a cool read, and I enjoyed it. And the little twist that happens in there, it's dope.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's all I'm gonna say. I wouldn't recommend picking it up. If you are picking this book up because you want to read the next Batman story, anybody listening or watching, just get the collection that they're coming out with. Because they're doing a hardcover that collects all the stories in the next Batman that have Tim Fox. They're collecting a story from the Joker Warzone special, a story from Batman Black and White, and they're going to have a new story in it as well. So it's actually cheaper to just get that collection. If that's what you're here for. If you're here for like the Future State stuff and you want to read all the stories, I get it, but save the $8.
I did. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about my favorite read of the favorites. Nightwing.
My boy Dick Grayson, dude. Finally a good Nightwing comic.
This is some good dick.
That's it.
Anyway, this is The Future State. It's by Andrew Constant, Andrew Constant writing, Nicholas Scott on art, and Ivan Placencia on colors. This is the most fun I've had with a Nightwing comic, I'd say, pretty much ever.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
It makes me excited for the Tom Taylor stuff, but I mean, I was excited for that without this.
Yeah,
but this was dope, dude. This is a brand new Nightwing that we have here. It kind of gives you a glimpse of how he would react without there being a Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But without Bruce, I mean, I feel like a lot of his motivation, early on Nightwing stuff, was definitely get out of the shadow of the Bat. You know what I mean?
Correct.
But over the years, with the stuff I have read, with the major epics that I have read where he's been involved, the Batman arcs where he's been involved, he's definitely come into his own. He's definitely become something. He's become the Nightwing of Bloodhaven. You know what I mean? And this really brings out this whole. In my eyes, he's the only one who's ever deserved to wear the mantle of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from Bruce himself, you know what I mean? Damian still has a long way to go. The other two, well, we all know what happens with the other two, but Dick Grayson has always been the one who is meant to wear the cowl. That's Bruce's first son.
Yeah.
And it's apparent here, the kind of superhero he's turned into is awesome, dude.
Yeah, and he's running around because they're all vilified. Every vigilante in Gotham is vilified, right? Peacekeeper 1, who I have a feeling we're gonna learn is somebody. I had this feeling. I have the books that are coming out this week. I haven't read them though. Because last time I read them before we recorded the episode, I had them in the back of my mind, and I didn't want them to overtake or me to mix shit up, I just love Nightwing's, his motivation is similar to Bruce's without all the darkness attached to it.
Without all the brooding.
Yeah. So, I don't want to say he's a better Batman. Bruce is a better detective, but, the way with which Nightwing fights is more graceful. I mean, Bruce even says it. He's a more skilled, he's more skilled in that respect. Maybe not a more skilled fighter, but there's a gracefulness to him when he fights. And Nicola Scott, I love her art, dude. And her love for Nightwing, I think she's said it many times before. I know I've seen it somewhere.
A lot of Nightwing butt.
Yeah,
Nightwing butt.
Yeah, that's true. It's not a Nightwing comic unless you're seeing his ass.
I like 3 times.
Yeah, I like the tacticalness of his new costume. I think we've been talking about it too. The Magistrate stuff is okay, I really just want to know what's going on and who it is. And I know that it's going to be played out in the Bat books come March. They talk about it. It's possible that we'll see some of these things played out. Probably not all of them, obviously, because there is a lot of different writers writing this stuff. So to coordinate and make sure everything kind of flows together, I don't know that we'll see that. But
it's Future State got the Dawn of X treatment where it's a group of writers all trying to all basically on a round table, having round table sessions where they're all trying to formulate these big, grand plans. And I feel like it's working. It's working like that. I don't know about you. It's like, I feel I get more creative when I'm bouncing stuff off you. And
I feel that too. Like when we were trying to come up with a comic book idea, I feel like us talking together, you help make my ideas formulate better. You know what I mean? Like, and
same.
I think that's just like I can be creative, but it's something about like when I get around you, like, and we just start talking, like, just the ideas flow, bro.
Yeah, it turns into this whole wheel. But I think that round table that is like that magnified, because you have people who are like legitimate professional writers coming together, and I just feel like they have this big ass whiteboard in their meeting room for this whole future state thing, and they're like, okay, this is what we got to do. Boom, 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 and it's like, everything with the especially with the Bat family, like, because I'm totally into it. I'm 100% invested in the future state Bat family. Like, everything seems cohesive. I feel like by the end of this, like whether or not it finishes in this future state event, or if it finishes like sometime in the future, like after they tell the whole story, like it'll hop back to this. But when it all comes together, when it all comes to a head, it's going to be fucking epic. It's
dope.
It looks awesome, dude.
It is. And another thing I like about Nightwing is he's like working out of dilapidated Arkham Asylum. Like that's fucking cool too. And then this is the most I've liked Tim Fox Batman. was his appearance in here. I don't know why I liked it better, but I liked that Nightwing fucking. The way he refers to him, he's like, he just says people call you Batman. Like he's actually calling him people call you Batman.
Yeah.
Like that's how he refers to him. Yeah.
All right, people call you Batman.
Yeah. So like that shit was kind of funny.
Like, because it's funny, because let's be like this circles back to what we were saying about Dick being the real Batman. But he's not.
No, nobody else should be Batman except Dick Grayson.
Yeah. And then after that, maybe Damian. But the thing is, like, Damian has a lot of growing to do, which I think it's going to be great, like, coming in the future, like, especially with the stuff coming out with him, with his solo run. Like, like I feel like all of the stories I've wanted to hear, and all of the writers I've wanted, or even didn't know that I wanted to be on certain DC titles, are finally coming together. And I gotta say, like, I think I'm only pulling, with Doctor Doom being over, I think I'm only pulling 3 Marvel titles, while DC, I'm like, yo, sign me up for Tom Taylor, give me that Batcat, give me that freaking Robin, give me fucking Nightwing, give me it's almost double the amount of what I have pulled for DC than I do for Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, I had all the DC pretty much off of my pull for a while, and now they're seeping back in, because like, I think a lot of it has to do with the talent. Like we're getting new, fresh voices in the DCU, and with fresh takes that we weren't seeing before. And I think that's why it's kind of an exciting time to be a fan of the DC stuff. You know, before last book, you didn't read it, Shazam, dude. This is loosely tied. I don't want to. I kind of don't really want to say too much about it, because I knew nothing about the book going in. I've read no solicits for any of the Future State books.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
No, it's just like you open to the second page. It's like, what the hell's going
on? Yeah, and he's in hell, right?
Yeah.
So there's.
I'm just gonna put that down.
Yeah, it's loosely tied into the Teen Titans book. It's written by Tim Sheridan as well. Art by
Tim Sheridan.
Yeah, art by Eduardo Pensica, Julio Ferreira on inks, Marcelo Maiolo on colors, Rob Lee on letters. This is really interesting, dude, because something happens to Shazam, and you don't know throughout, but his behavior is weird as fuck, right? And
it's not Billy, is it?
It's not somebody else.
Okay, cool. All
right. I can't really say anything else besides it's not somebody else.
But
what happens? What happens with him in here? What happens with Billy Batson? It's very interesting. And this like last week was Superwoman, right? That kind of surprised me. Shazam was the one that surprised me this week. That was my surprise of the week, where I was just like, dang, that is fucking really interesting. That's really cool. And I can't wait to see how this plays out. And I hope that this gets touched on. I think he's in the Teen Titans Academy books, Shazam. Not sure 100%, but I know that this is tied into Teen Titans.
Okay.
So, based on the issue, if you're a fan of Shazam, you're a fan of Teen Titans, if you liked the book last week, I read this book. I would even recommend, if you really have no desire to really read it, it's worth picking up to checking out. Tim Sheridan, he's a pretty solid writer, dude. I mean, he writes a lot of animation, a lot of stuff in animation.
Yeah.
And like now he's like breaking into the comics. Super nice guy. I'm interviewing with him next week. We're going to talk some comics. He's going to be writing the Teen Titans Academy book that we mentioned last week. So I'm very, like I said, very excited to see these new writers coming into DC and to see what they do.
New blood. That's what this is.
Because that's how we get the next big writer in comics. That's how we get. Brian K. Vaughan at one point was a nobody, right, in comics.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the only way we're going to get new writers. And then eventually, like, maybe they will do their own, create their own stuff. Then maybe we'll get some really awesome unique stuff coming out from, like, Image or Boom because of them doing this. Like, look at Ron V, like I said. He's going to have 5 books out in April. 5 different titles. Like, that's insane, dude. Like, he's, like, totally killing it. Yeah, that's all I want to say about Shazam. But
no, I mean, I'm very excited.
Yeah, overall, it was another solid week, dude, in my opinion. And
no, I 100% agree. Everything that I did read, I can't speak enough good praises about it. And I'm looking forward to more next week. Next week, I think we get Aquaman, right?
Yeah, I flipped through it. Yeah, it's awesome. So we got Aquaman, we got Superman, Imperious Lex. We got Suicide Squad. We got another issue, Dark Detective.
Yep, Dark Detective. Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Is a Grifter backup going to be in that one? I think so. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it might be a different backup.
Red Hood. Nope. Red Hood.
Yeah. So by Joshua Williamson. So that'll be good. And then we got a Legion of Superheroes as well. And I feel like there might be another book I'm missing.
Batman Superman.
Oh, Batman Superman. Right. So yeah. So there's some cool stuff.
Squad.
So there's some cool stuff coming out. I haven't flipped through everything. I only flipped through Aquaman. But I didn't want to spoil anything, so I kind of just want to see the art.
Right.
Looks awesome. So a lot to be excited for this coming week. And I can't wait to talk about it, dude, next week. I'm very excited. All right. Well, if you're not already following us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. You can follow Dylan at The Dillbot on Instagram. Make sure you throw your comments or suggestions down below, or you can also email us at thecomicloungepod@gmail.com. And make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.